Ready, and action! Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Time for part 3 of Professor Victor Singing Eagle's brilliant lectures here at Sisseton Wahpeton College in Native American Literature. And now, without any further ado, it's your host, Professor Victor Singing Eagle! Yay! I sure hope this sound is working right, because sometimes when I make these videos, the sound is not working properly. Well, where were we? We were talking about the hero twins, who are Wena and Wishka, and their mighty power that they had. They had rings of fire and a stone, or this bouncing ball of fire, and they were so powerful. One of them fought with bows and arrows, and he could set his arrows on fire. And the other one fought with a lance, this long lance, and he would throw it and spear his enemies. He could set the tip on fire as well, and they also could set these rings on fire. They could set the ball on fire. That's how powerful they were. But nobody knew where these kids came from. They were orphans, you see, and they were in this cave. All the ant people and plant people, animal people, and humans, we were all hiding in the cave because of these 3 big bullies: earthquake, hurricane, and meteor. That's where we left off. Now, the boys had promised they were going to go out and get rid of these monsters, and that's what they're getting ready to do now. So they come out and they confront the first monster, Earthquake. And Earthquake says, "Who are you naughty-looking, bratty-looking kids, you little weasels, you little varmints, you little pipsqueaks?" And he tried to smash them because, they came out ready to do battle. And sort of like the story of David and Goliath, where Goliath is making fun of David as being a little runt. That's what he was doing. And the little boys, they took out their weapons, a ring of fire, and one of them had a sash around his waist. It was a red sash, and he pulled it, and he tied it to the tip of his ring, and he threw the ring at the monster, and it went around his legs, and he got bound, and the monster tipped over and fell. Now, the boys had power, you see. They had magical powers, or sacred powers, or sacred medicine. When they got the giant to fall over, they called all the stones that this giant had been abusing and smashing with his fist. They called to the stone people, and the stone people all jumped on top of him and piled on top and smashed him. And he's still buried under a stone today, and that's why there's so many earthquakes in different parts of the Americas, you see, because the giant is still underneath the ground, and he's still restless. So that guy's dispatched. He's stuck underground. He can't move, and he's trapped there pretty much forever. Next, Hurricane. Hurricane was angry. He said, "What have you done to my brother?" And he took his lightning bolts, and he threw them. He took some water, and he made big tidal waves, and he threw them at the boys. And the boy, the younger one, that's Wishka, he took out the little ball, he set it on fire, and he did a marvelous backflip kick, and he kicked that ball right into his throat. And the monster and fell into the water, and he was gone. Now, last but not least is Meteor. Meteor is very angry. "What have you done to my brothers? You have killed my brothers," he said. So he goes up into the sky, and he grabs some stars and some stones and some meteors, and he hurls them at the earth some more, and he's throwing meteors at the brothers, but the brothers are artfully dodging. And he says, "I'll get you yet." And he goes way up into the sky next to the sun. And he says, "If I can't burn you with my meteors. I'm going to burn you with my body. And he bared down, and he made himself brighter than the sun. And it started to set the planet on fire because he was burning so bright. There's 2 suns in the sky, you see. Everything's drying up. The lakes and the rivers are drying up. Oh no. So the 2 boys, they get together and they go, what do we do? What do we do? Wena, he's got his bow and arrow. He grabs his bow and arrow. He sets the tip on fire and he aims. And he lets go. And the arrow goes right into the heart of Meteor. And Meteor explodes into a billion itty-bitty sparkles, which we have today when we look at the night sky. Those are the stars, you see, that we have. Now, once the 3 demons or monsters were defeated, everybody came running out of the cave. Yeah, you did it! Yay! The plant people, the animal people, and even Kavanoshka, the spirit of winter. And they're all so happy, and they grab the boys and they throw them up on their shoulders and say, you did it, yay! And they're so happy. Now, there's a problem, you see. That is, well, it's not really a problem. Let me just explain. I'm starting to mess this story up. My ADHD is acting up because there's somebody outside rolling around with a mop and bucket. Kavanoshka she's an immortal being, you see. She's the spirit of winter. She carries along with her, she whips it up out of nowhere, out of thin air, and some snowflakes, who knows? But she's got the power of immortality. And she says, I'll give you 2 boys as a gift from the spirit world. You can come and join us and live with the spirit people as immortal beings. So she gives both brothers the little vial. I don't know, let's pretend that this board wash here is vial of magical elixir that makes you immortal. Gives each child one. Says, there you go. The boys are maybe 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. Who knows? But they're young teenagers. Now, as she's doing this, the first boy, that is Wena, he's happy. Oh yeah, right on. I get to be immortal. Bottoms up, takes his top up, and he floats up into the air. He joins the spirit world, and he's happy. But the other boy, the younger one, Wishka, Wena is now up in heaven. Wishka, he's all, and he's hemming and hawing, you see, because he's got a secret love. He's actually in love with a chief's daughter. And I'm trying to shorten this story because it's a very long story, you see. Now, Kavanoshka says, oh, you're not going to drink it, huh? I can see you're in love. And sure enough, there's this beautiful young girl that's around the same age as Wishka, and they're kind of looking at each other and stealing glances. He goes, I knew it. So she says, well, I guess my work is done here. If you need anything else from me, you know who to call. And she spins around and disappears in a bunch of snowflakes and wind, and she's gone. Poof! Now, let us fast forward a little bit, because the chief of the human people, the real people, he agrees to let Wishka marry his beautiful daughter. And they're very happy together. This guy's up in heaven when Wishka's now living with a beautiful young girl, and they're having lots of fun every night. Don't get me started. I'm going to keep it PG-13. They just love each other very much. They're very lovey, huggy bear, kissy face, and all that fun stuff. And one night, as they were taking a rest from the fun that young couples do, the young boy says, oh, I got to go out. Whew, man, I'm so worn out. I got to go out and visit the boys' room, the boys' bush, whatever. He's got to go relieve himself, okay? And The girl's still, she's all happy too, and she's, oh, I'm so thirsty. And you know what's happening, right? Okay. So the guy goes out, the girl is rooting around for something to drink, and she finds the boy's, she doesn't know what it is. She just knows, oh, something to drink. Open up, Evian, and oh, suddenly she starts to feel funny, and she starts to feel light, and she starts, oh no, what's happening to me? And she starts flying away, and the boy comes running, hey, where are you going? And she, help me, stop it. But she flies away, and she flies up to the heavens, but she ends up landing on the moon, because her love is still there for her husband, you see. And when I tell this story, oftentimes I'm telling it to Chinese people, and they say, you're just telling a story of Chang-Eh and Hou-Yi. But this story exists in Native American culture, especially my tribe, or runaway band Potawatomi. And it goes all the way down to Mesoamerica and probably South America as well. In our story, down south, she has this cool little snake headdress. And she's always depicted as up on the moon holding a white rabbit. There's a long story about how that rabbit got on the moon. We don't have time to get into it today. But anyway, when she gets up on the moon, she finds the rabbit, and the rabbit snuggles against her and says, don't cry. And, somehow I'll pray for you. We'll get it figured out. And the husband, meanwhile, the little boy. By the way, they also say, I'm going to put that little boy part on hold for a second. Here is a Chinese depiction of remember I told you last time they call him Nejia. There's even a cartoon that just came out, Nejia Part 2, where he has a lance, slow down, and his ring, and he's also got another ring that he rides. But in our story, the ring is actually a ball, or the one that he rides it as a ball, and the other ring is a ring of fire that he throws and kills monsters with it. Now, let's get back to the story. The boy who has lost his beloved young wife is freaking out. Oh no, what am I going to do? And he's crying, he's all on his hands and knees, and he's pounding, and what am I going to do? And the moon, one of the people up on the moon, there's actually more than one person who lives up there, you see. He calls down to the boy, he says, stop crying. I need you to take up your lance and start walking eastward. My brother, who lives on the sun, will know what to do. Uh-oh. So the boy, he's a little afraid, but he takes his lance and he starts walking, and he walks for days and days, and he finally gets to the palace or the lodge of the Sun Chief. And the Sun Chief is looking at him. Who are you, this mortal, coming to me? And the boy says, and the chief is looking at the boy up and down and inspecting him. And he sees, where did you get that ring? The boy says, well, I've always had it since I was a baby. And the chief looks at the boy some more and realizes, could it be? He looks like his mother. And the chief breaks down and cries because he realizes when he was much younger, he was such a jerk, and he killed his wife, and he was so evil, but now he has reformed. He's become a good man. And he starts crying, and the boy, what's wrong? He says, you're my long-lost son. And they have a happy reunion. And the short ending of this, which I'm already probably talked for 13, 14 minutes, is the chief lets his son live up on the palace or the lodge of the sun. They're very happy, and he's also immortal now too, because he's living up there in the spirit world. And every night of a full moon, you see, somehow the sun and the moon can get together. And that's why today young couples are always super romantic, because, this guy and his wife who lives in the lodge of the moon, she's stuck on the moon, he's stuck on the sun, but they meet every month
for 4 days out of the year, and they have, well, let's just put it this way, a very loving, passionate, happy time. And the same with our human counterparts on the earth, you see. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much for your kind attention and indulgence. I got to quit all this yakking. We're at 15 minutes and 15 seconds. We're going to stop it here and post it. Talk to you later.